Hi everyone, this is Brittany from By Brittany Goldwyn. I post videos about plants and projects, and today we are going to be planting hyacinth bulbs. I got a shipment of Brex bulbs, hyacinth bulbs, in multicolors. They're purples, pinks, and whites from Walmart for super cheap, so I am going to be planting more hyacinths along the side of my yard. Why do I like to plant hyacinths? They are one of the earliest flowers in the spring, so they're a really great sign that the long winter is about to end and you're about to get some beautiful flowers. They also have a really, really strong fragrance, so they are great in cut flower arrangements, some of the earliest cut flower arrangements of the season. Now, even though they bloom in the spring, you do have to plant them in the fall because, similar to tulips, which you may be more familiar with, they do need a period of 12 to 15 weeks of cold weather, cold stratification in the soil before they are able to bloom in the spring. So fall is actually the time that you plant hyacinths for spring blooms. Now, I am filming this as of December 1st in Maryland Zone 7A, so it is a little late in the season to be planting these. It's still fine. They'll have enough time in the cold soil to bloom in the spring, but I'm just punishing myself because it was like 50 degrees 2 weeks ago, and I could have done it then, but I waited until everything was on a closeout sale before buying them. So I'm going to walk you through how to plant these. It's very easy, and then hopefully do an update video in the spring to show you how worth it was. So let's take a look. So before we get started digging, I want to show you what I'm using. So you can just use a little shovel, a little trowel, but I love my ball auger. This just attaches to any standard drill. It's got a drill bit end, and then you turn your drill up, put it down into the ground, turn it on, and it pulls up all the dirt for you. And I love it too because it gets down pretty deep and just kind of mixes everything up. So if you are adding in any organic matter with your bulbs, like maybe a little bit of leaf compost, something like that, you can toss it in, give this a couple clicks here, and then it'll kind of mix everything up before you pop your bulb in. So they also make little handheld tools that you can stick down in and squeeze and pull up. I have honestly found that this is worth its weight in gold. I also use it for mass planting ground covers. I'll just do a bunch of holes in a row and then pop in plugs. I think it is well worth the investment if you're going to be doing a lot of planting in your yard. So I have some new perennials in this area that I've planted that have not gotten very large yet. So what I'm gonna do is kind of up here near where the path is, I'm going to plant a couple bulbs. Now, in a couple years, I may have to dig these up and move them. I'm not sure, but I wanna have some color up here next to the front of my raised garden beds early on in the season. So I'm just gonna stick my auger down in. You can see, you can do it slowly to see how much power you need to turn on. It's all the way down in. And then I pull it up and it kind of loosens everything up there. I think I'm getting stuck on some of the cardboard I put in here for sheet mulching last year, but you get the point. All right, so it pulls all the way up. All of this soil is very loose down in here. So you'll take this bulb and put the pointy side up, and this side is where the roots will grow. So eventually this will multiply, but for now you'll just have one sprout from here in the spring that will give you a flower. So you stick this bulb down in about 4 to 6 inches deep. And then my package on these says to plant them about 8 inches apart. That won't be a problem here because I'm not doing any mass planting. I'm just gonna plop a couple down in here. But 8 inches apart is usually a good rule of thumb for planting hyacinth bulbs. And I am generally not a very tidy gardener. As you can see, I'm just letting dirt fly all around here, especially end of the season. I don't really care what things look like. But one of the things to keep in mind when planting bulbs that critters find tasty, including hyacinth bulbs, is that you should not leave anything indicating what's in the ground. So for example, you may have noticed as I've been planting these, some of these will come off. So these are the coatings on the bulbs. It's a best practice to clean those up from everywhere where you're planting bulbs so that people people so that little critters don't find them and think, ooh, there's a little treat down in here. I want some more of this. So best practice is to clean up the area where you're planting them, or you can also plant bulbs that are not appetizing to the critters who like hyacinths. Allium is an ornamental onion, is a really good choice to plant in like a barrier around hyacinths and tulips because they are far less tasty for critters like squirrels and groundhogs and bunnies and all those things. These last few bulbs, I'm going to try and give you guys a bird's eye view of what it looks like when you are drilling this auger down into the soil. So you just pull it right up. And if I had my other hand free, I would be using that gloved hand to pull up some of this soil. But as you can see, it generally is going to loosen things up more than sufficiently to bury this down as deep as it needs to go, about 4 to 6 inches, and then cover it back up. So we've got one more to go, and then we're done. All right, now that we are done planting, I'm going to take my little bag of all those little bulb coatings, I forget what they're called, little sheath things over the bulbs, because again, I don't want those flying all around the yard and enticing any hungry critters. Everything is planted, so now it is December 1st, so I am just going to let Mother Nature take care of the rest of this. I'm not going to water these. I'm not going to do anything with them. They are already planted in areas that get full sun to part sun, which is what hyacinths like. So I will let Mother Nature with snow and rain through the winter take care of things. I'll let them chill, literally and figuratively, in the ground until the spring when they start to pop up. And when they pop up, I am going to do another video on how to care for hyacinths because there's a whole process of caring for them after they're done flowering to ensure that you're able to get flowers year after year after year. So until then, happy planting.